with a lot of older clients, they come to me and they're sort of saying, I can't get up and down off the floor anymore. I can't get down to play with my grandchild, or I can't lift my grandchild up, or I can't reach this or whatever. I had one lady who said to me that when she cleans the glass shower panes, she can't go down the bottom. So there's sort of this line of soapy water down the shower panes. And the way I always explain it is, I'm like, you know, when you say strength training, you think of lifting weights in a gym, but actually it relates so much to everyday living.
Yes.
So, you know, I need you to be able to squat, because I need you to be able to get up and down and in and out of the car, or up and down from a chair or whatever. I need you to be able to reach overhead, because you can get things out of cupboards, or, you know, lift things from the floor, grandchildren, and so on. And once you kind of make that connection to the everyday life, and really, you know, that's the same with men and women, and really whatever age, you can always relate it back to some form of everyday living, I think.
Yeah,
So,
that's interesting. It's kind of like, what do you struggle with? Well, I struggle with this very normal thing day to day. Right, it'll help with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we often say on the podcast that, you know, I've mentioned it a few times. I know that because of the people that we talk to week in, week out, and the conversations that we have and the circles we move in, we're almost, you know, I've said before, you know, it feels like you're in a little bit of an echo chamber, and you really feel that, well, everyone knows this stuff. Everyone does this stuff. The world is changing out there. Everyone's aware of strength training. But it really did hit me that at that public gym a couple of weeks ago, that actually, Christ, things haven't actually changed that much. You know, like the vast majority of corporate, commercial, you know, big, you know, local authority gyms, whatever, it's still that way that I kind of thought we'd moved away from. So I think what's really interesting now is you having this new role, writing for Saga. You're going to be writing to people who are totally, you know, out of this echo chamber, and, you know, the general public, and maybe people who don't do any exercise at the moment, or probably most of them, if they do, who are still in that kind of old, you know, gender stereotype of, you know, women do cardio, men do weights, or and that sort of thing. So what kind of, I know you've already started, you know, putting pen to paper, although I know you don't do it that way anymore. But, you know, you've started writing things already for Saga. What, yeah, I mean, are you going to sort of write it as a progressive series of articles, or do you cover a different topic each week, or what's the format going to be to actually start to, because this is actually really interesting, where you're going to get the opportunity to speak to and to educate people who are not in this world at all, aren't you?
Yeah. So when we launch, there's going to be a mix of kind of progressive series, and then sort of articles reflecting what people are looking for. The generation that we're looking at now, like 50 plus, they're really kind of tech savvy. You know, if you look at us, none of us are that far off it, we're all sitting on a podcast. But if you went back 20 years, somebody of 50 wouldn't have had a clue. You know, people are much more switched on. They want to know, if I buy this smartwatch, what will it do for me? So there'll be those kind of reviews and guides and stuff like that. And there's going to be a mix of articles, for people who are already out there doing stuff. So people who are running, people who are walking, people who are into yoga and things like that. But then there's also going to be a lot of kind of deep dives into different ways of working out and things like that. So we're trying to form like cornerstones, and one of the cornerstones will be menopause, around the menopause. So, you know, that instantly sparks off so many different things. You know, how will I change in the menopause? How will that affect my exercise? Should I start strength training? Yes. That's
a rhetorical question.
Word. Yeah.
Always yes, isn't it? It's just no way around it. Yeah.
And different things like that. And then lots of articles around kind of, blood pressure and diabetes and things like that. Can type 2 diabetes be reversed? People who go to their doctor are very often just told, well, you are type 2 diabetic, or you're bordering on it, lose some weight. But you're not given sometimes you're given a voucher for Weight Watchers or Slimming World or whatever it is in your area, but you're not kind of given helpful, constructive advice. And I well, not just me, but the editors really want our site to kind of be a lot of people's first port of call for new knowledge. So for me, as the fitness writer, I want to be kind of a strong voice in that area where people are, oh yeah, I know she writes good stuff, she knows what she's talking about, and so they'll kind of gravitate towards that and get good information and accurate information from us.
Is this like a new? I don't know that much about Saga because I don't need to. I just know.
Yet.
And this is going to sound horrible. Saga's for old people, right? But that's what a lot of people will think, right?
Yeah.
Which it's not if it's over 50s, because I'm like, that's me in 4 years' time. You know what I mean? So, but it's been around for a long time. So is this kind of like a new kind of direction? Because what's just sprung to mind to me as well is that I've got a headline for you as well, by the way, for an article which will be great.
Come on, then.
But I'll give it to you later.
Okay.
It's suspense for the listeners. You see, they'll want to listen to the end now.
It's not similar to your gym where you punch meat, is it?
No. It's totally different. That's a different demographic. I've lost my train of thought. No, so when we were speaking to Vicky Causa, right? So I don't know if you're aware of her. She's got real strong women, is what her business is called, because they're real women and they're getting stronger. Like that does what it says on the tin. And she was saying, some of the stuff she sees for women of a certain age. I don't know what age, but it's all. She said like there are classes for like over 50s. Where it's basically just stepping up and down off a step and swinging your arms around and all of this sort of stuff. And she said we've moved on since that, like the Rosemary Connolly stuff and the Mr. Motivator on the telly and Lizzie Webb and the Green Goddess and all of that. Just to prove that I am the age I am. But that's changed, hasn't it? So is this like a new direction for Saga, or because like I said, I don't know the past really.
Yeah, so Saga have been around for years and years. I can remember having a really good laugh because my mum was eligible for Saga. She's kind of mid-70s now. But they started out offering cruises and insurance, basically car insurance, travel insurance, and so on. And then they launched Saga magazine, which you subscribe to and get sent out, like an actual physical magazine. And yeah, they've kind of changed their structure a little bit and their leadership and stuff, and they're launching Saga Media because people are online now, and the biggest consumers on like Facebook, biggest consumers of video content on Facebook are 55 plus.